Today, we are talking about something that might be hard to hear, but it is actually so freeing when you realize it. You might be the one that's blocking the good from flowing into your life, and not in a you're doing something wrong kind of way, but more like these sneaky habits or patterns that might feel normal to you are actually holding you back. So let's just dive straight into this. And this is 5 sneaky ways that you might be blocking the good in your life and how to shift it. So, the first way that you might be doing this is you are lacking clarity. Because if you don't know what you want, how can you expect to get it? And trust me, I understand it's not always easy to know what you want. And that used to stress me out so much. But here's the truth, you don't have to have it all figured out. And what's not okay though is using lack of clarity as a reason to do nothing. So, lacking clarity just means that you need more information. So, you need to try things out. Rule out what you don't want, gather results, test stuff out, get feedback. Like the way for you to find out what you want in life is for you to simply just go for things and figure it out. So let me use dating as an example. If you want to figure out what you want in dating or what you want in a person, it's great to just go on dates and be like, okay, these are things that I want. These are things that I don't want. Not just sitting and thinking about it. You learn by doing. Or in your career, you don't have to quit your job and take a leap into the unknown, but you can talk to people in that space. You can try it out. You can shadow. You can explore. Like clarity comes from action, not from overthinking. And so often we get in this space of overthinking. And when we do this, we just end up not doing anything. And so my greatest advice for you for this is to just do anything, try out different things. If you don't know what you want, go and find out what you don't want, because that also narrows down what you do want. The next way you might be not letting the good into your life is that you are not letting it get that good. So have you ever had that moment where things are just actually going really well in your life, everything's flowing, and suddenly this weird panic creeps in like, wait, can I actually have this? Is something bad gonna happen? Like, I know I felt that way so many times where so many great things were happening in my life and I was like, wait, something bad has to happen at some point. And that's called the upper limit problem, and it's something we all do. It's basically the limit you unconsciously place or on how much good you're allowed to receive. And if it starts to feel too much, even if it's what you wanted, you might decide to pull back or create drama or distract yourself or even sabotage it. And not because you think it's bad, but because it's new, it's unfamiliar, and change can feel unsafe. And it's really just crazy because you could get everything that you want in life. And so often we end up sabotaging it right before it happens because we unconsciously don't want life to change. So how do we change that? Because I know that we all we want life to get that good. And so we change that by starting to notice when the panic comes in. So when life is flowing and you hear that thought of, oh no, like things are about to go bad, like this isn't allowed to happen, you start by asking yourself, what if it's safe for it to get this good? And you just have to build that capacity to receive more joy, and that takes practice. So you try out different things. You tell yourself, okay, it's safe for me to experience this amount of joy. It's safe for me to experience this amount of good in my life. And just consistently reminding yourself it is allowed to get that good for you. The third way you might be blocking all of the good from coming into your life is that you do not believe that you are worthy of it. You don't get what you deserve, you get what you think you deserve. So if deep down you're thinking, why me? Or that's for other people, not me. Or why would I ever be able to get to that place? You won't go for the things that you want. But my question for you right now is, why not you? The fact that you want these things is enough of a reason for you to go for it, and you were born worthy. Like, worthiness isn't something you earn, and I think you look at a baby and you're like, you never look at a baby and think, oh, they're not worthy. You look at them and you're like, oh my God, this baby is beautiful, like saying all these good things. And then as we grow older, we take on these beliefs of, I'm not worthy of it, I'm not good enough for this thing. And as a result, we don't end up going for a lot of the things that we want because we don't feel good enough for it. So here's how we change this. Number one, again, notice when the feelings of unworthiness come in, and then reframe your beliefs and say affirmations. And even more importantly, go for the things anyway. So even if you don't feel worthy for it, even if you're like, this is so out of my comfort zone, like I'm not going to get this opportunity, go for it. Because the act of you going for it tells your brain, I am worthy because I am doing the thing. And realizing that there are people who are so much less qualified than you, who are going for the things that you desire because they believe that they are worthy of it. And so sometimes all you have to do is just shift it and go for it, even if you don't feel like you're necessarily worthy of it. And I put quotes around worthy. If you're listening to the podcast, you can't see the quotes, but it's really just about realizing that, again, you are worthy because you say that you are, not because of anything else. And I really just hope at least this one resonates with you, because I feel like so much in my life I have not allowed myself to go for things because I haven't felt good enough for going for it. And I look back now and I'm like, I missed out on so much in life because I simply didn't think that I was good enough to go for it. So again, just reminding you, you are worthy of the things that you desire. And then the fourth way that you might be blocking all of that goodness in your life is that you are procrastinating and calling it waiting for the right time. So you say you're waiting for the right time, but the truth is there is no right time, and the right time is a myth. And most of the time, what is actually stopping us isn't that we're waiting for the right time, it is fear. It's not laziness, it's fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of if it actually works out, your life might change, and your nervous system, again, reads that change as unsafe. I also heard in another podcast that miracles happen when you go against your nature. So when you say yes to something, even if it's uncomfortable, when you do the thing that your old self wouldn't do, that is when miracles happen. That is when good things come into your life. And this hit me so hard. And so my tip for this is to just say yes and figure it out later. You don't have to have all the details ironed out before you go for it. You just need the first step and really just feel the fear and do it anyways. You can be nervous to go for something, but you can also allow yourself to be nervous and go for it. So ask yourself, like, what little nudge am I getting right now, and how can I act on it before the overthinking kicks in? And one more thing that I really love to do is when I feel stuck, I ask myself, do I want my life to look like this in 6 months? And most of the time the answer is going to be no. And I think that in itself is a reason for you to go for it. And this always just serves as big motivation to do so. You have to do different to get different. And again, I just want to emphasize that you are not lazy. The reason that you're not going for it isn't laziness. It is simply the fact that you are afraid of fear, or even afraid of success. But again, to get things that you've never gotten before, you have to do things that you've never done, and you don't need to wait until the quote unquote right time. All you have to do is just go for it and figure out the steps as you go along. And then the fifth way that you might be blocking all of that goodness in your life is that you are living from the past. So many of our beliefs about who we are and what's possible come from past experiences. So we're acting from old labels like I'm shy, I'm not the type of person who does that, no one ever listens to me. And that becomes your unconscious identity, and it shapes how you show up. But what if you decided to change the story? Your reality is happening right now. You don't have to keep repeating the past just because it feels familiar. And I think this is such a huge shift that really happened for me, because I realized that I had this whole entire story of how I thought people saw me. And as a result, I decided I would start showing up in that way, or a way that felt aligned with that, when in reality, it wasn't me at all. It was just this random identity that I took on that made me feel safe. But it's realizing that you don't have to stick to that. And at any given point in time, you could decide to take on this new identity and take on this new beliefs about who you are. And so how do we shift it? You rewrite the story. You visualize the version of you who already has what you want, and you visualize how they speak, how they walk into a room. You write that down, you rehearse it, and you really feel it. You memorize that in your body. And the more that you do that, the more that you become it. And again, just for this point specifically too, it's realizing that you don't need to be the person that you were even 6 months ago or even yesterday. You are allowed to decide to show up differently, and you're not tied to this person that you think other people think that you are. So it's really just about being who is the person that I want to show up as, and just start memorizing that in your body and start showing up as that person. Ending this off, I want to remind you that these 5 sneaky habits aren't flaws, they're just patterns, and that means that you can shift them. So I'm really encouraging you to pick one of these that resonated most and ask yourself, what is one small way that I can move differently this week? Because that's really how momentum builds. That's how you start unblocking all that good in your life, because the life that you want is not waiting for you to be perfect. It's just waiting for you to be brave, waiting for you to just step out of your comfort zone and to stop blocking all of that good in your life.